Hey guys. Hello. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so I would love to kick us off since we're getting ready to start this live workshop. If you can introduce yourself into the chat, that would be amazing for us to get started. So I actually see that a couple of you guys have done that already. Okay, Kathleen is from Little Rock and is an agile coach. Perfect. Tracy is in Oakland, is a nonprofit ed and tech startup founder. Perfect. So just introduce yourself like that. Tell me your name, city, and profession, just like Kathleen did, just like Julia just did, just like Myra just did. So Julia is in New York, is a travel agency. Wait, it went so fast I couldn't see what you said. Travel agency owner. Got it. Okay. Kara is in Chicago. Kara, what do you do for work? Awesome. Let's see here. Spark says, I can't wait. Muscle sign. I love it. Crystal is in Texas and is a therapist. Awesome. Eddie is in Oakland. Got a couple Oakland folks here. Okay. Fred is in Dallas and is a VP of operations. Very cool. Braisha is in Columbus and is a wardrobe stylist. By the way, Braisha, did I say your name right? If I do not say your name correctly, if I get it wrong, just tell me that I said it wrong and just correct me into the chat. It's important to me that I say people's names right. So if I say your name or pronounce it incorrectly, just let me know how to get it right. Okay, got it. I think I got it right. Okay, Jason is nonprofit tech program director. Got it. Very cool. Jason, where do you live? Ladina is an AI energy therapist. Very cool. Cool. Awesome. Mike is in New Jersey and is a tech manager. Paul's from San Francisco. Got it. Got it. Okay. Keep introducing yourselves into the chat if you've not already, because we've got this awkward setup where you can see me, but I can't see you. And this is going to be a really hands-on workshop. I'm going to be directly helping you with your business ideas. And so it's helpful for me to know who I'm talking to so that I can help you. Cool. So introduce yourself in the chat. As you're doing that, I am going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen because I put together a really awesome workshop and presentation for you. Let me know in the chat when you can see my screen full screen. Sometimes it takes a moment to load up for you. Awesome. Okay, James is in Fort Lauderdale and is a filmmaker and videographer. Very cool. Natalie, office manager and is in New York. Very cool. Very cool. Lauren, healthcare informatics. Awesome. I don't even know what healthcare informatics are. That sounds cool though. Okay, awesome. Okay, you guys can see it. It looks like folks can see my screen. Okay, perfect. So we are here today to talk about how to go from just having an idea to actually generating income with that idea in 60 days. Specifically, how to do that with an app idea. So how to come up with the strong app idea, how to build it without any tech people weighing you down or taking a long time or charging you a lot of money, and then charge people to use that app that you build. We're going to be talking about that holistically and how to put together a plan for you for that. So welcome to the workshop, to the masterclass. We're going to have an awesome time this evening. I'm really pumped that you are here. So I know that a lot of you guys were emailing me before the workshop and before the masterclass. And so I know that everyone is kind of here for a different reason. So some people told me that you're here because you're working a 9-to-5 job now and you're hoping to take control over your own earning potential in 2019. Right? I just want to take control over this thing in 2019, which is awesome. And some of you guys are here because you want to put yourself in a position, in a financial position, where you're not affected by layoffs or government shutdowns. In the US, we know a lot about this right now, or the economy, right? Like any changes in the economy. Because the reality is that a job, your job, can decide to not have you on the team anymore at any point, right? And so how do you create a cushion system for yourself so that you're not really affected by stuff like that? I'm going to share my own story with some of this really soon too. And for some of you guys, you told me that you wanted to join this workshop because you have been stalling on your app idea for weeks or months. Some of you guys have had your idea for years. Like it's been a long time that you're just sitting on this app idea. For some of you guys, you don't have an app idea yet. Some people here do not have an app idea. Nicole says, yes, all the above for me. Yeah, very cool. So some of you guys don't have an app idea yet, but you're here because you want help coming up with a good one, which is totally awesome, right? Jack says yes, years. Charlene says years. So you guys have had these ideas for years, right? And other of you guys already have an app idea. Like you've been thinking on an app idea for a while, but you're not sure how it's going to make real income for you. So you think the idea is really cool, but you're not really sure how to connect all the dots so that it makes money. Now, some of you guys are already entrepreneurs. So if any folks in the chat already entrepreneurs, but you're just not yet as successful as you want to be. You want to do more. And for some of you guys, or a lot of us, really all of us, I'm going to guess, like you want to find a way to work less, to travel more, and to do it on your own terms. Some of you guys want to do it and create an app as a side hustle. Some of you want to create it as a full-time gig. Either way, we're going to be talking about that. So if any of those things apply to you, so I know a couple people in the chat are saying, yep, this is me. I know all about this. If any of these things apply to you, you are in the right place. I'm really going to walk through all the stuff you need to know and make sure this is super valuable for you this evening. So I like to be super transparent about what we're going to be discussing this evening. So I'm going to tell you just straight up front what my goal is for this masterclass. And I have a couple. My first goal is to work with you, like you and I, to work together to build a plan for creating a side hustle. It can be like a full-time thing later on, but at least starting with a side hustle that's going to create some additional income and cushion for you in 2019. Income and cushion for you in 2019. My second goal for you for this masterclass is to help you take your existing knowledge and expertise, the stuff you already know about, not stuff you have to learn over again, but stuff you already know, and turn that into an app idea that you can charge people to use and make real money from, your existing expertise. And then finally, I'm going to show you a method, a specific method that you can use to avoid spending $20,000 trying to hire someone to build your app for you, right? You just don't have that time for it, any of that. Or avoid spending a whole year struggling trying to learn about app programming and computer programming. Again, we don't have time for any of that. So I'm going to show you a method you can use to avoid all of that. Cool? All right, awesome. So one last thing I want to do before we jump into the meat is I want to introduce myself. Because some of us, we've met before, but for some of us, this is our first time meeting. And so I want to tell you a little bit about who you're talking to. You might be wondering, wait a minute, who is this lady? So my name is Tara Reed, and I am a tech entrepreneur. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I used to lead marketing initiatives at Google, Foursquare, and Microsoft. So my background is in tech. However, I was not the person who was building the apps and building the software, any of those sorts of things. I was not that person. I was on the business side, right? And in 2014, I founded a really successful art startup. And I built the company's app and algorithm without writing any code. And so this process of coming up with a strong app idea, of building the app idea without any tech people, of charging people to use the app, got me $150,000 in revenue and $300,000 from investors who said, Tara, this is great. I want to see you take this to the next level. Here's a check. Boom. I did all of that in my first year as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to be talking to you about all of that and all of those things. I just want to check in. Some people said they can't see or hear me. I just want to make sure that everyone, you have to press play in order to hear me. So I just want to make sure folks can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know in the chat. Okay, Victoria says I can hear you. Can you also see? Because some people are saying they can't see the screen. Okay, got it. Okay, so just want to let you know, just in case anything happens, there is a button up top. Do you guys see that button that says reconnect? So if any reason you're not able to hear me or see me, click the reconnect button or just refresh, and that'll help you. And if you see anyone who's getting stuck with that, can you just direct them to click the refresh button? Sometimes it just needs to reboot itself. But it sounds like most of you guys can hear and see me. Perfect. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So I was kind of giving you my introduction. I've been really blessed to be featured in some awesome publications. Last year, Entrepreneur Magazine featured me in their Young Millionaires edition. Actually, I'm wearing the same dress right now that was in that magazine. How cool. Okay. And Forbes has written some really fun articles on how to succeed in Silicon Valley when you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. And I've done a really fun TED Talk. Some of you guys actually have already seen this TED Talk. I'm building apps without code that has almost 300,000 views now. But I want to be transparent and say that I did not start this way, meaning that I didn't start day one as an entrepreneur, just getting lots of press and all sorts of stuff like that and all sorts of success. That didn't happen that way. When I started, I was in a position much like you. I was a professional working a job, and I was working just a comfortable 9-to-5 job, right? My job wasn't terrible, and it also wasn't amazing. And so I just I didn't love my job. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And actually, I didn't really know or understand how important it was for me to love my job. I didn't really even understand that. Carrie says blue badge. Yeah. So I was working this job, but I wanted to build my own app business. And I wanted to do that so that I wouldn't have to spend my whole life working for someone else's dream, right? At the time I was working at Microsoft, I was working for Bill Gates' dream, not mine, right? And I wanted to do a couple things with that, right? I wanted to pay off my student loans. I wanted to work less. I wanted to travel more. And I wanted to not have to worry about money. And I also wanted some sort of shot at retiring early, just some sort of chance, right? But the problem was I kept running into a ton of roadblocks because I had this idea and I didn't know what to do. So first of all, I did not have $20,000 to hire someone to build my app for me. I don't know if you guys know this, but that's how much it costs to hire someone to build an app for you. I just didn't have that kind of cash sitting around. I also didn't have 1 to 2 years to learn how to code. I just didn't have that kind of time before I could even start. And I couldn't find the right tech savvy business partner. I was trying to find business partners, but it's nothing felt like the right fit. And so I was just really struggling with this. And I knew that if I took too long to get to this idea, somebody else was going to launch it first. So I started to panic a little bit. And I was starting to feel like a failure because it was taking me so doggone long to get going with this business idea, right? Tracy says exactly. Rachel says, listen, I know all about this, right? Yeah. Tracy says, I'm looking for a business partner now and I'm not finding one. So in the middle of all of this, for me, I'm trying to figure out how to start as an entrepreneur. I'm doing all this. And in the middle of all of this, Microsoft laid off 80,000 people, and I was one of them. So in the middle of all of this, trying to figure out how to launch my company and my idea, I lose my job. I had no way to pay my bills. I actually had to move in with a friend who was living in Detroit to get back on my feet. I was totally embarrassed. In fact, it took me several months to actually tell my friends that I had lost my job because I was just so embarrassed about it, right? GK said it's exactly what I'm going through. Yeah, it happens to a lot of people. So what I decided was I'm not going to let myself struggle anymore. I'm going to figure it out. And so I taught myself this process I'm going to teach you today of how to build apps without code. So I wouldn't keep banging my head up against the wall with all of those roadblocks, right? Kia says, I totally relate. My department was laid off at Hilton. Yeah, absolutely. It happens. The thing is that this is sort of a sidebar, but I just want to say this really quickly because it's important for you to understand. Job security does not exist. There's no such thing. The company can decide to not have you there at any point. They can, right? Okay, so I taught myself how to build apps without code. And the first version of the app that I built got me my first $35,000 in revenue. It made me my first $100,000 investment from 500 startups to the top tech accelerator in Silicon Valley. So I started blogging about my journey building apps without code. I did that TED Talk, which some of you guys have seen, on building apps without code. And I started coaching other entrepreneurs. I coached an entrepreneur named Josh who had an idea for an app where schools could better teach music classes using his app. And he now has 23 schools who have written him a check to say, great, we want to use your app in our school. And I started working with another entrepreneur named Patrick, who had an app idea to help assembly lines and manufacturing companies become more efficient. And he had Coca-Cola. Who was his first customer? His first customer was Coca-Cola. He built an app. Coca-Cola wrote him a check and said, we want to use this in our facilities and in our manufacturing plants, right? That was his first customer. So overall, I've helped entrepreneurs generate over $1 million in app launch revenue. And it's been so fun along the way, seeing all the things that you guys bring to light. So how does this all apply to you? What does this have to do with you? Well, you also have an idea of becoming an entrepreneur. That is why you are here. And some of you guys are already entrepreneurs kind of trying to take this to the next level. You also cannot rely on a 9-to-5 job for all of your stability. You just can't, right? You just can't. We know that there's some economic changes that are coming up. You can't. You also are already 100% qualified to build your own app idea. I'm going to show you that in a moment. And you also can take your existing passions, your existing interests, your existing knowledge, and turn it into an app business. You don't have to learn a bunch of new stuff. So how did I go from getting laid off at my job to building this $1 million tech empire? Like, what exactly happened in between? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Cool. So let me know in the chat if you are now ready to get into the meat of this. I'm going to break this down, so let me know if you are ready. We're going to be talking about how to come up with a strong app idea, how to build it without any tech people, and how to charge people real money to use it. Let me know in the chat if you're ready for me to break this down. Let me know. Tracy says, let's do it. Got it. Joey says, ready. Tasha says, I'm ready to get this information. Ken says, 100% ready. Been ready. Jarrell says, I've been ready. Okay, I love it. I love it. You guys are fun. Good. We can make this fun. Learning is fun. Okay. Michael says, hell yes. I love it. Very good. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Let's break this down. Idea to income in 60 days, how to come up with an app idea, build it without any tech people, and charge people real money to use it. All right, let's do it. Okay, here's what you're gonna learn today. 3 secrets. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Let's go right into it. Let's start with number 1, right? Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. So in order to kind of paint this picture and help you understand this, I want to point out that there is a difference. There's a difference between an app idea and an app business idea. App idea, app business idea. An app idea, you can just come up with it anytime. App ideas are a dime a dozen, right? But an app, most people think that they're the same thing and they're not. An app business idea requires a strategy because it has a whole plan for how you make money. It has a whole plan for how you grow a team or how you actually create something sustainable. An app business idea is what you want to go after, not just an app idea. So I want to introduce you to the SMART idea formula. And the SMART idea formula is a series of questions that you can use to help brainstorm a strong app idea that you are already qualified to build. So some of you guys already have app ideas. You're going to use this activity to kind of spark some additional thoughts for you about other app ideas or other things that can be lucrative or ways to add to your app idea. And for those of you who do not have an app idea yet, this activity is going to help you spark some ideas. So let me give you an example of how the SMART idea formula works. I want to introduce you to Joshua Head. Josh is an entrepreneur that I have had the pleasure of coaching. So when I sat down to start working with Josh, we walked through the SMART idea formula. It was the first thing we did together. And I just had a couple questions for Josh. So my first question was, hey, Josh, what do you do for work? And he was like, oh, okay, that's easy. I can answer that one. I'm a music teacher. Simple, right? What do you do for work? Then I asked him a second question. And I said, okay, great. So can you name one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort on at work? You or your boss spend a lot of time or effort on at work. And he said, well, I often have to go to visit middle schools in order to teach music classes at the school, right? I have to teach classes there. And so I have to travel back and forth because I can't be in multiple places at once. And so I'm kind of running around all the time. And I can only grow my business so big because I can only be in so many places at once, right? And then I had a final question for Josh. And I said, okay, great. So let's say that you built an app to alleviate some of that stress, right? What could happen once someone logs into the app? And Josh had no idea what the answer was. So we had to think about it for a second, but he was just brainstorming, right? No right answer, no wrong answer. And so he said, okay, well, let's see. The students could log into the app and they could complete lessons like music creation lessons. And the students could work in teams to compose songs on the app. Like they could drag and drop different pieces of the song and compose a song. And the teachers could give grades for this. And I could take this app and I could sell it to schools, right? It was just brainstorming. And this is a true story. Josh built an app for schools to teach music classes. He now has 23 schools who have written him checks. Most of his clients are in the state of Virginia. 23 schools in Virginia who've written him checks because they want to be able to teach music classes using his really awesome app that he's created. He's done $30,000 in revenue. He also has gotten $50,000 in investment, meaning someone wrote him a check and said, I love what you're doing. I want to see you take it to the next level. I want to be an investor. And he did all of that in 6 months. And Josh says, this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. So I want to that's kind of an example of how the SMART idea formula works. And now I want it to be your turn. So I want everyone to get ready to type into the chat because I have some questions for you. And these questions are going to help you brainstorm a really strong app idea. Cool. Kevin says that's pretty incredible on all fronts. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, so ready to type into the chat? I have some questions for you to help you brainstorm an app idea that you're already qualified to build. So my first question is, what do you do for work? Type that into the chat. This should be an easy question. What do you do for work? Let me know. What do you do for work? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Tina's a nurse. Got it. Teacher, project manager, CEO of a nonprofit, event planner, working construction, web designer, stay-at-home dad, freelance massage therapist, barber, realtor. Even if you're transitioning and in between the jobs, job seeker counts. You can write that down. Awesome. Real estate and insurance sales, construction again. Got it. I sing at events. Awesome. Department of Defense instructor. Got it. Got it. Okay, great. Cool. Now here's my second question for you. Name one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort on at work. You or somebody, or you or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. What's something that takes a lot of time or effort? Let me know in the chat. Real estate investor. Got it. I'm looking for a job now. Perfect. Podcaster and author. Awesome. Jack of all trades. Hairstylist. I own an entertainment company. Great. Okay, the things that you spend a lot of time on: getting and collecting money, reviewing documents, lead generation, research, tracking your time, putting in grades, frown face, Kara says, managing tasks, doing meetings, demolition, got it, marketing, finding staffs to work events, cutting hair, creating things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm specifically, Risha, asking about like your current 9 to 5, but it can be anything, kind of what you spend a lot of time on. Entertaining the kids, documenting work. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's say that you built an app that alleviates some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? Just give me a couple ideas of what the app could do to alleviate some of that stress, right? Things that take a lot of time: creating content for videos, training for the Sheriff's Academy. Yeah. So what could, if you built an app, what could happen once someone logs in? Once someone logs in, how could you help them a little bit? How would the app help them? Let me know. Brainstorm a couple ideas if you have into the chat. Carrie says, understanding people's businesses. Yeah, got it. So what could happen once someone logs in? Julie says, the clients can type a destination, budgets, and dates of travel. Perfect. You can give them a list of resources. Perfect. They can see all the available people to work your event. Perfect. They can take a lot of time logging, or you take a lot of time logging inventory. Got it. Great. Yeah. What else could the app do? It could aggregate the information they provide to help interpret what is applied to the art. Yeah, they can pull software requirements together. It could help connect others to in their culture. Yeah, the client could key the data change that they need and could auto update their pay statements for employees. Yeah, they could get coached. They could give people topics to blog about. Exactly. To keep track of the documents, all these sorts of things, right? All sorts of these things. And what you could do is you could take the app that you create and sell it to companies like the company you work for or people like yourself, right? Awesome. Teenagers can have relationship advice. Absolutely. Got it. So let me give you one more example of how this smart idea formula could work. So I want to introduce you to Carlos Rivera. Carlos is another entrepreneur I have had the pleasure of coaching. So when I sat down to work with Carlos, the first thing we did was we went through the smart idea formula just to help him brainstorm some ideas. But here I asked him slightly different questions. So these are the questions I asked Carlos. I said, what is one thing that you do in your free time? And Carlos says, well, I like to play basketball, right? And I was like, okay, great. You like to play basketball. Perfect. And what is one thing that is hard or time consuming about that hobby? And he said, well, figuring out which courts are available when I want to play sometimes really sucks because I have, I go to a court, sometimes it's available, sometimes there's too many people already playing or already there and I have to wait and it's just annoying to have to do all that, right? So figuring out which courts are available. And then I asked him a final question. I said, okay, great. Carlos, let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? And again, he hadn't thought about this before, so he sat and he thought about it. And he said, well, gyms could let their members log in and they could see which courts are free. They could book the court in advance and they could sell this to different gyms and put their branding on the app, right? And this is a true story. This is exactly what Carlos did. He built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts. His first customer that he signed was the YMCA, who said, we want to pilot this in one of our locations so that we can determine if we want to have it in all across the city. He charged that one YMCA $300 a month, and he accomplished all of this in just 4 weeks. 4 weeks from idea to app built to the YMCA signing the contract for him in 4 weeks. So this is kind of how the smart idea formula works. You can use it thinking about things that you do for work, right? Or you can use it thinking about hobbies that you have. What are the challenges with that hobby? And what are the ways that an app could solve some of those challenges, right? And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Tara, am I qualified enough to build an app? And the answer is yes, you are. Particularly if you use the smart idea formula because you're talking about things you already know a lot about. So that is secret number one, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. You can use that process and those series of questions to brainstorm ideas for yourself. Cool. Can we move on to secret number two? You ready? Let me know in the chat if you're ready to move on to secret number two. We're going to be talking about how to build an app yourself without any tech people. Jenny is ready to get to this, to secret number two. I know she is. Let me know in the chat if you're ready to talk about secret number two, how to actually build the app yourself without any tech people, now that you have some ideas flowing in your head. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right. Kevin says, wait. Okay, I'm ready now. Perfect. Okay, good. I'm glad you're ready. Susan, this is the part I'm waiting for. Good. This is the fun part. All right. So most people think that when they come up with an idea for an app, they're like, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to hire an expensive agency to help me build the first version of my app. That's what they think the first thing is they need to do. Anyone in the chat thought that this was the first thing they need to do? They need to hire an agency to help them. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking this approach. The challenge is that on average, it's going to cost you $20,000 to start for someone to build your app for you. And you can let me know in the chat if you have talked to someone and they told you it was going to cost $20,000 or even more, right? A lot of you guys have already done this, already trying to figure this out. Yeah, okay, I see lots of folks in the chat who are like, I thought I needed to do this. Got it. Yeah, I almost paid that deposit for it. Yeah, absolutely, it's expensive. So some people have that roadblock. And then some people think, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to find a tech-savvy business partner before I can start. So they're looking on LinkedIn. They're going to meetups. They're trying to meet people. They're trying to do all this stuff to try to find a tech-savvy business partner. But the problem is that finding the right business partner is like finding the right person to marry. Like if you don't find the right person who's on the same page with you, you can easily tank the business. Right? And so it can easily go wrong. So you don't want to rush this. You do not want to rush this process to try to find someone too soon. Oh yeah, Albert says 20K is a no-go. Tyron says I was already offered 20K. That's how much they said it would cost. Yeah, absolutely. Now, other people are like, okay, I know what to do. I have an app idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach myself the basics of how to code in order to build the app. Let me know in the chat if you were teaching yourself the basics of how to code in order to build an app. Right? Again, there's nothing wrong with taking this approach. The only challenge is that it takes about a year in order for you to actually get proficient enough so that you can build the level of complexity of an app that you need, right? And that's a long time before you can just get started. Kind of. See, a lot of people here who are working on learning how to code, right? So what happens is because all these things are super challenging, most people completely put their app idea on the back burner. So they're like, it's impossible. I can't do this. I'm not a tech person. And what happens is they wait so long to launch their idea that somebody else takes it and launches the idea before they can get to it, right? But actually, you don't have to do any of those things that I just mentioned. You don't have to do any of those things. Actually, you can create apps by using code-free software. Code-free software. Let me tell you what I mean by this. Code-free software. So, code-free tools or software let you design apps by dragging and dropping, pointing and clicking, just like you would design a PowerPoint presentation. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English. Not in some other language that you have to learn, but in English, which you already know, right? So you design the app by drag, drop, point, click, and then you logically tell the app what to do in English. So the logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. The logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. Let me give you an example of a logic statement that you already understand, right? You already understand. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall, right? There's nothing confusing about this sentence. Everybody understands this sentence. If this, then that. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall. Simple. Okay, let me give you another example. If the user clicks the button, then log them in, right? Really simple. There's nothing confusing about this sentence. So my tip for you is to find logic-based software to build your app. There are a ton of logic-based software tools you can use to create your app. You don't have to use all of them. You just have to choose the best one or two that are right for the type of app you personally are trying to build. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through some examples of code-free software, logic-based software that you can use for creating your app, right? I'm going to show you some examples. We're going to start with some beginning ones, and then we're going to get fancier as we go along. Cool. And before I do this, Sergey had a question. What is the guarantee that the code-free software will not steal my idea? That's a great question. I want to answer that before I show you the examples. So all the tools that I'm going to show you work like this. Let's say that you are an author, right? You're an author, and you're ready to write a book. So you go open up Microsoft Word, and you start typing your book in Microsoft Word, right? Microsoft does not own your book. They have no rights to own your book. All you did was use their software that you paid for to write your book, but they do not own your book. Does that make sense? So these tools work the same way. You still own your app and all of your intellectual property. Make sense? Okay, great question. That was a really great question. Okay, so let's talk about some logic-based software tools that you can use for your app. So the first tool I want to show you, somebody actually called this, is Wix. Wix. Now, most people think about Wix for creating websites. However, you can also use Wix to create an app where people log in with their username and their password, and they enter the inside of the app, and they can do things like Yelp, like rating and review system. They can rate the cocktail bar that they went to, or they can book a flight like you see on the screen, like a flight booking system. So you can say the date that you want to travel, the end date, and if you want a window seat or an aisle seat, etc. So Wix allows you to create a login app where people log in their username and password and enter some custom portal on the inside. AppSheet is another really cool tool you can use to create an app. Now, AppSheet allows you to start with a spreadsheet. Anyone here like Excel? Anyone like Excel? It's okay if you don't like Excel, but you can start with a spreadsheet of information, and AppSheet takes your spreadsheet and instantly turns it into an app. So you can show images and show a bunch of different images showing. You can show different locations and have people plot the locations. You can have people type things in and sign for things and enter data. You can chart different things on a graph and chart, all sorts of stuff like that, right? So AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn it into an app. Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. So everyone gets their own profile. People can follow each other and like each other. There's a feed of everyone's posts, and people can poll each other, start different conversations, all sorts of stuff like this. And your social network can be available on the web. It can be available on Android, or it can be available on Apple, right? ShareTribe allows you to create your own marketplace app. What do I mean by marketplace app? Well, a marketplace is where people buy and sell things from each other. So think like Airbnb is a marketplace app, right? Where there's people who are renting their home, people who want to rent homes, and they do the exchange back and forth, right? So ShareTribe allows you to do it. You can see on the left side an example of how this looks. So people can post anything. They can post bikes or vacations or whatever it is that they're buying and selling in your marketplace. And ShareTribe allows you to create your own marketplace app. Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. You can have lessons and tutorials and all sorts of different quizzes and audio and all sorts of things like this. And so Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. Motion AI allows you to create artificial intelligence chatbots without writing any code. And Stencil allows you to create video games without writing any code. And again, these tools that I'm showing you can be on iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, or on the web, right? Stencil. Here's an example of a video game that was created by someone just like me and you who had absolutely no idea how to code but had a cool idea for a video game. So I want to take a moment and welcome you to the future, because myself and a lot of other people in this tech industry now understand that by 2025, most software won't be made by coders, but instead by people from diverse backgrounds using logic. Because in order to build apps today, you no longer need to be a software developer or use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, etc. in order to build an app. In fact, you don't even need to write a single line of code. A single line of code. So again, I'd like to welcome you to the future where your specific app idea is already possible using software that allows you to use code-free, drag, drop, point, click, and then logically tell the app what to do in English. Cool. So you might be thinking, hey, Tara, this is all really cool. I love all the tools that you're showing me. This is amazing. Christine says, wow. Jackie's like, question mark. I don't even know about all this. Oh my gosh, right? You might be thinking, I don't have time to build an app myself, right? But I want to show you something. This is Charisse, and Charisse is one of the entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure of coaching. And so Charisse is an author. She's an author, right? And I don't mean this as an insult. I love authors, but authors are not known for being the world's best app developers. They're just not necessarily known for that. But Charisse built an amazing online social platform for sci-fi and comic fans. So she built an app, and she was a finalist on this TV show called Planet of the Apps. It has Gary Vaynerchuk, Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow, Will.i.am, etc. Right? And it works kind of like Shark Tank. Right? And so Cherie says, I got a professional developer and I spent 9 months and almost $9,000 to get practically nothing. After using Tara's After That Code system, within 2 hours, I had built the first model of my app myself. So from 9 months of struggling to 2 hours, built the first model of her app herself. And I just want to be clear, because Tracy had a question in the chat or a comment, said to build it out completely custom, you still need a coder. Sort of. These tools will give you a blank canvas. You create custom whatever you want. Drag, drop, point, click, and then logically tell you what to do. Tell the app what to do. And you'd be amazed at how much is possible using these tools. Right? Cool. All right. Rachel says, can our app be personal solely for a specific business? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it can. Cool. So reality check, kind of using Sharice's example, it does not take much time if you use a proven system. It does not take much time if you use a proven system. So that is secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. Cool? Okay. Can I move on to secret number 3? How are you guys doing? Just want to check in real quick. Can we move on? One more secret I want to share with you. Cool. So there's a question, what about scalability of this software? You have no limit on number of users that you have on this software. They do all of their hosting using the same things that the big companies use. Amazon Web Services is usually what they use to host all of your data. It's the same thing you would use if you were building with code. So there's no limit to number of users or amount that you can scale. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Jackie says, what software is good for finding places and things to do? I recommend that you use AppSheet, but you can use a couple of those different tools that I mentioned. All right. So let's move on. How to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. $50 a month or more for your app idea. And Carrie had a question, what if you need to integrate a hierarchical data set or a fancy database? Most of these tools will handle a really fancy and robust database, particularly the ones that are based in spreadsheets. Without going into all the details, you can have multiple spreadsheets that link to each other so that they have hierarchy and create a hierarchical database, a data set for you. Okay, so secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Okay, so most people they just assume that their app needs to be free or 99 cents. Free or 99 cents, right? But here's the thing. If you do that, if you're free, make it free or 99 cents, you're going to be broke for at least the first few years. And the reason why is because you need a lot of 99 cents to pay your bills. If you want to do the math, be my guest, right? You need a lot of 99 cents to pay your bills. Why do that to yourself where you have to scrape up the pennies, right? So your app, reality check, your app should not be free or 99 cents. It should not. So I want to give you some ways to reimagine the price that you think is possible to charge for your app. I want to give you kind of a shift in mindset on this, right? In order to do this, I want you to consider a couple things. Nicole's laughing at me here. Right? Yeah. So a couple questions I want you to think about. The first question I want you to think about is, who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you can target? Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you can target, right? So I want you to know that there are 3, for any of your businesses, everybody here, there are 3 different lanes that your customers are part of. Some people are in the slow lane, right? They're in the slow lane. These are people where if you sit down with them and you talk to them and you explain your idea and explain why it'll be good for them, they'll eventually get it. They'll understand eventually, right? Those people in the slow lane. Then you have people in the sidewalk. This is my grandmother. No matter how much you ask her, she's not going to download your app. She's just not going to do it. Sorry. Right? And we all know people like this who no matter how much you ask them, they're just not going to try a new thing. They're not going to try an app. They're on the sidewalk. They're not even in the road. Right? And then there are people in the fast lane. These are the people where yesterday they were already Googling, trying to find an answer to their problem. They've been complaining to their friends saying, I wish someone would just launch a startup company to solve this. It's so annoying that I have to handle this problem. right? Those people in the fast lane, they are already looking for you right now, right? And specifically, you want to focus exclusively on fast lane customers with disposable income to start. Fast lane customers with disposable income. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say you have an idea for an app that helps you track groceries, right? That's the idea, an app that helps you track groceries. Well, you could target the everyday person. You could do that. But the challenge is that the everyday person is kind of strapped for cash. So they would probably only pay $1.99 for the app, right? But an alternative is to think about the fast lane customers with disposable income. So maybe you could target recent graduates of business school or law school because they use Uber Eats all the time and they spend $5 every time they get their food delivered, right? Either they are staying up late studying or they just transitioned to a really cool job that made a lot of money and they're working late. And they have absolutely no problem or no complaint spending $5 for every single delivery. And they also use Instacart to have all of their groceries delivered to them, and they spend $150 a year regularly on something like Instacart, right? So I want to ask you, what ideas does this spark for you? What is possible for your app? And who are the fast lane customers? You can tell me in the chat if you want. Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you can go after? So you're not begging the average person for money, hoping that they'll give you $1.99. Go after someone who is already looking for you, fast lane, and has some disposable income. If you have some ideas for this, I'd love to hear in the chat what ideas it sparks for you. Okay, cool. So, and Vibration says people who hate shopping. So make sure that the people who hate shopping are fast lane customers. They hate it so much that they're willing to pay a lot of money for it, right? Willing to pay a lot of money for it, and they have disposable income. Cool. Awesome. So that's one thing I want you to think about, right? Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income? They already know they have a problem, right? Now, the second thing I want you to think about is the idea of white labeling the app for a business who will pay you and be your customer. So let me tell you what I mean by white label. What white label means is that you design the app and then you take your logo off the app and you put another company, like a company who's going to be your client, you put their logo onto the app and you charge that client a lot of money to kind of take credit for the app. It's called white labeling. You take your logo off the app and you put the company's logo onto the app. And the great thing about white labeling is because you can charge a lot of money instantly for your app. So remember I told you about Josh's music app? He had that app to teach music classes. Well, when Josh first started thinking about his business, at first he assumed that he should charge parents for the app. Parents were going to be the people he charged. And he figured he could charge about $5 a month for the subscription, maybe $4.99 a month for the subscription. But then he asked himself, well, wait a minute, what companies or organizations would want their own version of this app? What companies or organizations would? And he realized that the schools did. The schools would want their own version. They'd have their own logo on it. They could kind of take credit for it. And he decided to charge schools instead. And that allows him to do $5,000 contracts. Instead of going $5 a month, he does $5,000 contracts. And one of the cool things about white labeling is you can white label to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bajillion businesses. You don't only have to white label to one, you can white label to many, right? But you can up your price point significantly. So, question for you, what ideas does this spark for you? What is possible for your app? What kind of organizations or companies would like to have their own version of the app? Let me know in the chat if this sparks some ideas for you. So that gives you a little bit of framework of how you can think about charging more for your app idea. You don't want to be stuck in the free or 99 cents position. You need to do a lot of marketing, a lot of working and hustling for the 99 cents. However, you can think about these two different ways to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. And for some of you guys, particularly if you take the white label route, you can charge thousands of dollars at a time for your app idea. Cool. Okay, that is secret number 3. Let me check in with folks. I just want to ask you a question. Are you guys learning stuff? Is this helpful? Are you learning things here? I just want to check in and see if you are learning stuff and if this is helpful. Tasha says, I'm speechless. Oh my gosh. If you white label, can you still have a subscription base? Yeah, absolutely. It could be like $5,000 a month. Yeah. Okay, good. Good. This is amazing. Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad that this is helpful. Okay, good. Good. Okay, I'm glad this is helping. So here's a quick recap of what we've learned thus far. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Cool. So let me know in the chat, who wants to take some of the stuff you're learning and actually implement it for your own idea? Like actually take some of this stuff to the next level. Let me know in the chat if you're ready to go with some of this stuff. You're now excited and you want to implement this for yourself, right? Right. Awesome. Good. Awesome. Yes. Kimberly says me with lots of ease. Okay, lots of me. Ed says, okay, good. This guy right here, Kevin says, okay, great. Good. I'm glad that this is helpful for you guys and you want to actually apply some of the things you're learning to your own business. So I want to talk to you about this program that I put together. It's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp. And what it is it's an opportunity for you and I to work together on your idea for 2 months. Work together for 2 months. Okay, Kia is saying, like, I'm wondering how you can be my mentor. So this would be a really good place for us to start, right? We'll work together for 2 months on your idea. And the program includes a lot of different things, but some of the main things it includes are personalized coaching. I put together a bunch of video tutorials, step by step, on all the things you need to do. And also, you're gonna get the community that you need to start clarifying your app idea, build it, and start making money from it, right? So question for you, and you can let me know the answer in the chat. Eric says, I'm ready. I love it. So let me know the answer in the chat. What if you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Right? If you get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days. Or what if you could have weekly access to your own startup coach? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Have weekly access to your own startup coach so you actually could help instead of floundering around, right? Or what if you could learn how to make your app a premium price point, maybe like $50 a month, so that if you do the math, you would only need 170 signups to make $100,000 this year, right? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp is all about helping you finally build this app idea that you have been stalling on, right? Some of you guys have had your app idea for months. Some of you guys have had your app idea for years. I already had a couple people in the chat be like, I've had it for years, right? It's been a long time, right? So it's about getting a high quality app without spending a ton of time or money or taking so long that you let someone else get to the idea and execute on it first. Right? So I am opening enrollment right now. Enrollment open for my winter and spring classes for Apps Without Code Bootcamp to work with me on your app idea. So I want to walk you through what the program looks like and how, like all the details of it so that you know and can consider it for yourself. So part 1 is the course, right? So this is where I put all the stuff I wish I knew when I was starting. Right? All the stuff I was trying to figure out and had no idea like what to do, right? So there's step-by-step video lessons, templates, tutorials, app guides, all of that stuff to walk you through step-by-step the entire process. So this is what it'll look like once you get inside of the course. There are going to be a bunch of different modules for you to walk through that represent all the different steps you need to take along the journey. And then when you click on each of those, I walk you through step by step by step every single thing you need to do in order, right? So this is kind of the structure of the program. On week 1, we're gonna work on pricing your app. Like how much should you charge? Is it 99 cents? Is it $100? Is it $1,000? Like how much should you charge for your app, right? Then on week 2, we're gonna talk about finding your perfect customers. For a lot of you guys, you have a ton of different people, types of people who would love to access your app, right? But there are only certain customers that are the right customers for you to start with because they're fast lane customers with disposable income. So how do you find those perfect customers to start with? Then on week 3, we're going to pre-sell your app. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is we are going to get people to pay you money to be on the wait list for the app before you're finished with the app. Before you're finished. Why do we do this? Because it saves you time. What it does is it allows you to know once you start working, you know already that you're building the right things because you already have people ready to go, right? On week 4, we're going to work on your website and your brand, and then we're going to spend weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8 actually building your app. So that's part 1 is the course. Part 2 is my second favorite part of this program. It is the community. And this is where you're going to get this wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you. Now, let me tell you why this is important, because a lot of you guys actually already know a lot about this. So, a lot of you guys are around people right now, the people you spend your time with. They have 9-to-5 jobs, and all they know and understand is what it's like to have a 9-to-5 job. And they think you're kind of crazy for wanting to be an entrepreneur. Let me know in the chat if that's the reality for you. You're around a lot of people with 9-to-5 jobs, and they do not get this whole entrepreneurship thing that you're talking about, right? For a lot of you guys, this right here is the reason you've not been able to move forward with your idea, and you don't even know it, right? Because it takes a totally different mindset. You have to be around entrepreneurs and be able to soak in some of that mindset in order for you to be able to become a full-time entrepreneur or to grow as an entrepreneur. Or you have to be around other entrepreneurs. If you're only around people who have 9-to-5 jobs, they will not get it, and they won't be able to support you moving forward. Tracy says, nope, this is not my reality at all. I love it. Yeah. So here's an example of a post in the community. Shara says, hey guys, I'm about 90% to my launchable MVP. That's the first fancy version of her app. How about you guys? I was thinking we could all test out each other's apps in a working session before we actually go public to our audiences. Then we can troubleshoot on that call real time. Maybe we can do it Sunday hackathon style, right? So that is the community. Now, the third part is literally my favorite part of this program. It's the best part in my opinion. And this is where you get your own startup coach. So what this is, it allows you to, when you're just, walking through, working on your business, your coach can go, no, turn left, you're going off track, and can get you back on track, right? You don't even know you're off track, but your coach can get you back on track. And that is one of the coolest things about having your own startup coach who can work with you through all of these things. So as I mentioned earlier, I think I told you the story about Carlos. Carlos built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts. The first customer he had was the YMCA. His price point that he decided was $300 a month. And he just started. Carlos is actually in boot camp right now. He's only halfway through, because remember, it's a 2-month program. But he's done all of this in 4 weeks, right? This is Ashley. Ashley built an app for schools to hire athletic trainers. So when she started, she had just an idea. That's all she had was an idea. Since doing boot camp, she now has 50 customers. She's done $3,000 in revenue, but she's done all of that in 60 days. This is what Ashley's app looks like. So when you run a school or a school basketball team or a football team, you can go in here and you can post information for the athletic trainer that you need. So how much you're going to charge them, what time the game's going to be, the football game or the soccer game. And her platform matches you with an athletic trainer who can come to your game, right? It's called Safe Play, okay? And Ashley says, I personally cannot function successfully without structure, even if that means it'll cost money. So from killing it in the gym with CrossFit to joining Apps Without Code Bootcamp, I personally do much better when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. A set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. I know I am the same way, by the way. If I don't have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with, I'll be doing all sorts of stuff that comes across my desk that won't even be a priority. So you probably are very much like this as well. It helps you to have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. And I know folks have questions about price. Give me one moment and I will definitely get to it. I want to make sure you know what the program is though first, right? I'm going to talk you through what the program is. Okay, I want to show you one last example. This is Brittany. Tracy says, yeah, me too. I live by a schedule. Yeah. So this is Brittany. Brittany built an app for pharmaceutical companies to report their drug side effects to the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, right? So before doing boot camp, she had spent $30,000 trying to hire people to build her app for her. And she still had no app and no customers, right? After doing boot camp, she had a finished app. Because when I met her, she was super frustrated by spending $30,000 and still not getting what she wanted. She had a finished app. She had 2 large customers, but she charges her customers, because she white labels, she charges her customers $10,000. So each of these customers were $10,000 for her. So there's part 1, the course, the video lessons, the templates, the tutorials, and the app guides. Part 2 is the community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs. And part 3 is that you get your own startup coach. Cool. So bootcamp is really good for a bunch of different types of people, right? It's really good for antsy working professionals who are getting tired of having their income limited by a 9-to-5 job. Like, who says that you only get to make X amount of dollars per year? Like, who says that? Your job decides that? No, they don't get to decide that. You can make however much you want this year, right? It works really well for existing entrepreneurs who want to add more tech savviness to their business as well. It works really well for busy parents who want to work part-time on a lucrative app business. So you can spend the rest of your time with your family, right? And it works super well with ambitious people who need to stop, this is you, need to stop being stingy with your app idea, waiting so long to launch it, and bless the road, this great idea you've been stalling on for months, some of you guys for years, right? So oftentimes when people talk to me, there's 3 reasons why people don't get started, right? People are usually scared because they think it's going to take too much time, or they're scared because they think it's going to take too much money, or they're scared because they think it's going to be too hard. Like, those are really like the 3 reasons I find people don't get started with their app idea, right? But here's the thing, when you have a coach, it doesn't take too much time, because you have someone walking you through every single step along the journey, right? And it doesn't take too much money because you're not wasting time on any of these things. And it's also not too hard because you know exactly what to do along the journey. It's really simple, right? So there's After That Code Bootcamp. And to give you clear context, when I often travel to Silicon Valley and I work with startups, and I charge them $10,000 when I do this kind of coaching. I am not going to charge you $10,000, but I wanted to give you that context that I'm often working directly with companies and helping them do that. So there's 52 different lessons and tutorials. You're going to get 32 hours of live coaching with me, and then you're also going to get access to the private After That Code community. Tiffany's having mind ideas over here. I love it. So one of the things that people often tell me is they're like, hey, Tara, I'm really excited about bootcamp. I want to do it. That sounds really good, but I don't have a bunch of money to spend on just launching a company. I don't have a ton of money sitting around to launch a company, right? Anyone find themselves in this boat? You're thinking this, and you're like, I want to start a company, but I don't have a ton of money to spend on that. So if you were in this boat, I want to do something that's going to make your life a little bit easier. So when you invest in bootcamp today, one of the things I'm going to do to kind of make your life easier is I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. So I recommend that you use Wix to create your website. Do you have to use Wix? No, you don't have to use Wix. However, I'm going to pay for your bills for 3 months for Wix, so you don't have to deal with it, right? You just don't have to be thinking about that. So when you invest in bootcamp today, I'm going to give you Wix, access to Wix. And with free immediate access to Wix, you can have your website up and running by tomorrow afternoon. So you're not Googling, you're not begging your techie friends, you're not posting desperately into a Facebook group trying to get people to help you build an app or a website. You're not doing any of that, right? So there's After That Code Bootcamp, plus I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, right? And if you have a website already, that's totally fine. Now, another thing that people often say to me is they're like, hey, Tara, I'm really excited about bootcamp. I want to do bootcamp, But the problem is that I'm concerned that my app idea might be complicated. Let me know in the chat if this is you. You're thinking about your app idea is going to need to be complicated, and you're thinking about that, right? So if you were in this boat, I want to do one more thing to kind of make your life easier. And so when you invest in bootcamp today, another kind of bonus I'm going to give you is the advanced app guide. Now, the advanced app guide allows you to do all of the fancy stuff, create sophisticated databases, integrate with APIs, do all sorts of machine learning and all sorts of really complicated things, right? I want to tell you really clearly, I built an algorithm using this process, an algorithm, right? So you can do extremely complex things with your app. And the advanced app guide walks you through exactly how to do all the complex stuff, right? So to be clear, I used that advanced app guide to get my first $300,000 investment, right? Doing all of the complex, fancy stuff. Josh, who I told you about with the music app, he used this advanced app guide to make his first $30,000 in revenue with this guide, right? So the advanced app guide shows you how to do all the fancy stuff. I did not have time to walk through every single nuance. We would have been here for hours and hours and hours if I walked you through every single tool and all the nuances of all the tools. But the advanced app guide walks you through all the fancy stuff, right? Patrick built that app for Coca-Cola with the advanced app guide as well. So after that bootcamp, I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. Then there's the advanced app guide for doing all of the fancy stuff, right? Now, the last thing people often tell me is they're like, hey, Tara, I'm really excited about bootcamp. I want to do it. But the problem is I'm not a salesperson and I'm not a marketer. So I'm kind of concerned because I'm really excited about building the app, but I know absolutely nothing about getting people to pay for it or sign up or join my website or any of those things. Right? I don't know how to do the marketing to get new customers, right? So if you find yourself in this boat, the last thing I'm going to do to kind of make your life easier is when you invest in bootcamp today, I'm going to give you access to my 7-day email list builder. Now, with a 7-day email builder, you're going to get all of my email marketing templates to find new customers. So what do you say in the subject line to new customers? What do you say in the email? How do you even find the email addresses for potential customers in the first place? What do you say when they respond? All of that is blueprinted in scripts for you. So you can use it and just plug and play and do all of your marketing with it. And again, you're not Googling. You're not begging your marketing friends. You're not wasting a bunch of money on Facebook ads, which you should not be doing yet. Any of those things, right? There's After.com Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff and the 7-day emails builder for doing all of the marketing stuff. So, quick question for you. You can let me know the answer in the chat. If After.com Bootcamp helped you create an app business where you could charge $50 a month or more for it, so that you would only need 170 customers to make $100,000 this year, would it be worth it? Or if Bootcamp helped you build an audience and a wait list of customers waiting down the road for you before you even finished the app, would it be worth it? Or if After.com Bootcamp gave you weekly access to your own startup coach to work with you, would it be worth it? Or if it helped you not waste $10,000, $20,000 on developers or marketers, would it be worth it? Yes, because you would have a completely up and running business that was generating revenue for you. You could make a choice about whether you wanted to continue your 9-to-5 job or be an entrepreneur full time. You could just choose, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, I am opening enrollment for the winter and spring classes. So bootcamp enrollment is currently open right now, actually. And I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, Tara, how much does bootcamp cost? I need to understand what the price is. So for context, if you go and hire someone to build your app for you, the prices are going to start at $20,000 for someone to do a good job, right? $20,000, right? If people are like, and also when I go out and do this kind of coaching for folks, when I do it in Silicon Valley, I charge $10,000. Right? But I put together this really awesome program that I'm super proud of, and it consistently gets results for folks. And the cost for the program is $1,900. Or if you want, you can split that up into 6 payments of $380 if that works better for you. So $1,900, or you can split up the payments into 6 payments of $380. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a link into the chat for you, so that you can check this out and get enrolled. I put the link in here right now. You can also go to join. I'm going to put this into the chat. Join.appswithoutcode.com to enroll as well. So the two options, you can pay in full tuition, $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380. Cool. So enroll. You can go to join.appswithoutcode.com. Now, to be very clear, just a couple things, and then I'm going to open up for questions and answer all of you guys' questions. So one by one, I'll make sure everyone gets their questions answered. So what are we going to be doing in boot camp? Like, what is the promise if you want some clarity? So here are the things we're going to be doing in boot camp, just to be very clear. Number 1, you're going to build the first version of your app. And number 2, you're going to learn a process, a clear process for getting your first 100+ customers. That's the promise of boot camp, right? And so, you know how they say the early bird gets the worm? You've heard this before, right? So I have actually 2 fast action bonuses for you. They actually don't expire in 2 hours. I extended it, so they expire at midnight tonight, midnight Pacific time, right? So you know how I mentioned that the price is $1,900, right? So when you pay in full today, I have a bonus for you. And this bonus is a 10% discount on top of tuition. So the price goes from like $1,900 to $1,710, right? There's a 10% discount on top of everything. So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website cost for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff. The 7-day emails builder for doing all the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount on top of that when you pay in full, right? And to be clear, I have a refund guarantee. So if you do the work and you aren't happy with the course after 7 days, I'm super, super happy to give you your money back. Sometimes people ask me, like, is 7 days enough to know if the course is going to work for me? And the answer is yes, because in the first week, what we're going to do is we're going to carve out some time. We're going to do it over a weekend. And we're going to work together for 2 whole days, meaning you're going to get 16 hours of coaching with me. And we're going to walk through all the details, all the specifics of your plan for your app. And after that weekend intensive that we do, you'll be able to choose if you want to continue with the program. Cool. So I mentioned there were 2 fast action bonuses, and then I'm going to answer questions. So the other fast action bonus, when you pay in full today, you're also going to get a bonus 2-hour live session with me. And during this session, we're going to set up your app business plan. So we're going to implement for you the exact system I use to launch apps, to get 200+ people on the wait list, and to make usually $10,000 in the first month. So we're going to research your perfect customer profiles. Who's the perfect customer for you to start with? We're going to determine how much you should charge them. I'm going to show you some ways to do $50 a month or more. And we're going to outline your email and social media marketing plan. So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff. The 7-day emails builder for doing all the marketing stuff with a 10% discount and a live session with me when you pay in full. Make sense? Okay. So if you want those bonuses that expire tonight, you can type in the code FAST10. Actually, let me show you what this looks like in a moment. You can type in the code FAST10, all caps, in order to get those bonuses, the 10% discount plus the 2-hour live session with me. Okay, now I want to turn to you. What questions do you have about bootcamp, about your business? I want everyone to think about a question that you have and type it into the chat. What questions do you have about your business? What questions do you have about bootcamp? I'm going to be answering everyone's question one by one. Okay, there's a first question that says, where do you talk about the apps being available to customers or the user, i.e. the App Store? So I don't know what you mean by where do I talk about it, but all of the apps that you're going to build are going to be available to the customer, and you'll be able to choose how you want it to be available to the customer. Now, here's something you need to know. There are 4 types of apps. Most people think there's only 1 type of app. There's actually 4 types of apps. Let me walk you through all 4 types of apps. And you get to choose. In bootcamp, you get to choose which one of the 4 you want to build, right? So the first type of app is called a web app. A web app. Now, a web app is like when you open up your computer and you go to facebook.com, right? You can log in. You can use your username and your password and enter the inside of Facebook. It's got all your information saved about you. And you're entering the web app, right? Because all an app is something that you can log into with your username and a password. That's what an app is, right? So there's a web app. The second type is a mobile web app. This is where you get out your phone and you go to Chrome or Safari and you type in facebook.com on your browser, right? Now, what you may notice is that you can still log in with your username and your password, but it's nicely configured for a phone, right? It's called a mobile web app. The third type is called a native app. This is the kind that you download from the App Store. This is the type people usually think of when they think about apps, a native app, Android or iOS. And the fourth type is a desktop app. This is like, you know how you have Microsoft Word on your computer? It's like saved in your applications folder on your computer. It's called a desktop app. So there are 4 types of apps. You can build any of the first 3 in bootcamp. The only thing we don't do are desktop apps in bootcamp. Does that answer your question? Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. What other questions do we have here? Okay. Millicent says, will there be additional costs outside of bootcamp, like tax numbers, etc.? So no, there's no tax on it. So that price is all inclusive. The one thing that you should budget for is approximately, it'll be $100 or less for all the software that we're going to use combined, right? So any software you use combined, about $100 you should budget for in addition to that. Does that make sense? And all the software tools I'm going to show you, they all have a free version for you to start or a trial. But then once you start getting customers, you're going to need to move to the paid version. So that's what that $100 is for. Okay. Michael says, what if you have an app that is to integrate a system such as the YMCA or a restaurant? So that's totally doable. Can you tell me more? I just want to be clear on what you mean by integrate into a system, though. Tell me what you mean by that, and then I can give you more details on that answer. Okay, Mike says, how long are the video tutorials available? Oh, this is a great question. Okay, so you have lifetime access to the bootcamp. If you want to come back, like let's say that you launch one business and you already have one successful app, and you want to come back and do it again for a second app idea you have, you can do that again at no additional cost because you have lifetime access to all the tutorials and all the inside of the bootcamp class. In addition to that, after you're done with the 2 months, you'll have access to weekly alumni classes. So as an alumni, you can come to those classes. They happen for 2 hours once a week, and you can come and ask questions. So let's say you've already built a successful app, you're working on your second one, and you have some questions about that second one. You can come to the alumni class, which are live with me, and ask your question and get it answered. Or share your screen and say, here's where I got stuck, can you help me? And that's the nice part about having a coach. So you'll have access to that as an alumni as well. Okay, what other questions do we have here? Where is the link? So the link is, you can see it right here, but also I'm going to put it into the chat for you. You can join.appsa.code.com to get signed up. Okay, James says, if I'm going to invest, I need to know if you can help me. I'm trying to build a navigation app. So James, you mean that it'll give people, here's a direction, here's where you go, and you're going to help them find directions? Is that what you mean by navigation app? Just clarify that for me, what you mean by that. Okay, other questions. Okay, I've got lots of questions. Let me get to everyone's question. Okay, Michael says, I'm in an application for things such as, scheduling or reserving a space. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So here's what I want you to do. If you don't have a question, what I'd like for you to do is type into the chat and tell me a little bit about your app idea. That way I can confirm for you about whether it's possible, right? So if you have a question, you're not sure if it's possible to build without code, tell me a little bit about your idea into the chat and I can confirm or deny for you, right? Michael says, what about copywriting? So do you mean copywriting the app or actually writing copy for your marketing? Which kind of copywriting did you mean? I think you mean like protecting your app. I think that's what you mean. So I'm going to be showing you how to work with lawyers and how to get lawyers to do this setup work for you, this protection for your app for free. There are a ton of lawyers that do this kind of work for startups for free. I'm going to show you how to access those programs and get that done for you. Cool. Andrew says, how often do you run bootcamp? Well, that's a great question. So 1 or 2 times a year is how often I run bootcamp. 1 or 2 times a year. Okay, music app, definitely. Video game app, yes, absolutely. We talked about that. Cool. Okay, Jason had a question. How do we set up the 6 payments? So let me show you really quickly how to do that. Let me share my screen. Okay, so in order to enroll, you're gonna go to join.apsa.code.com. That's the link that I gave you. I'll let it load up so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And you can scroll down to sign up. You can pay with a regular card or you can use PayPal if that works better for you. And to get the bonus, you want to type in FAST10 here, all caps. And if you click away, it'll apply that 10% discount plus give you the 2-hour live session with me. Now, if you want the payment plan, you can just click here where it says if you're looking for the payment plan, you can click here and that'll take you to the page for the payment plan. So that's how you access this. And if you want to see some more examples of entrepreneurs who have done this program and had results, there's some videos and examples at the bottom of the page for you to check out as well. Okay, other questions. You know, I have a friend of mine who was talking to me about this the other day. And she was saying, you know, I was actually stalling. There's a trip I wanted to book. And I was stalling to go to Spain. And I was stalling on booking the trip. And she said this thing to me that really, really helped me. She was like, here's the thing. You are an eagle. You're an eagle. But you think sometimes that you were a chicken. Meaning the difference between eagles and chickens is that like eagles can fly. They can fly long distances. They're majestic animals, right? And chickens are kind of common. There's a lot of chickens that kind of all bundled around the chicken coop, right? They're kind of doing the everyday thing, going through an everyday pattern. And as you're saying, you were an eagle, but sometimes you think that you were a chicken. You truly believe that you were a chicken. So you're hanging out with the chickens all day and you're wondering like, I know that there's something more for me, but I don't know what. I know I can do more than this, right? Like that's how you are occurring to yourself in your life. It's like, you know that you're more, you know you can do more. And the reason you know that is because you're an eagle, but you think you're a chicken in the chicken coop, right? And so you're still hanging out with only chickens. You're still kind of in this mindset. And I need you to shift mindsets and get an eagle mindset, right? That was really helpful for me. I wanted to share that with you because really shifting that mindset for me really helped me think through some of the things I need to think through. Okay, more questions. We have other questions in the chat. Let's see what other questions folks have. Kara says, what software do you use for creating an app for booking an event? Kara, there are a couple different software tools I'll teach you for doing that. One of the main ones is AppSheet or Glide. Those are two really good ones you can use for creating your own custom booking event apps. And we teach both of those in bootcamp. Okay, Carrie says, what if your app must be affordable to a very wide audience to be effective? Crowdsourced data. Are there limits to what can be done? No, you can do that. There's no downside to that. The only downside would be that you put yourself in a position where you have to have a big business in order to make money. But here's the reality. If you're using crowdsourced data, right, you can be in a position where you can go for quality and not quantity. You don't have to have it to be for a wide audience. You can go after a specific audience. And I would recommend that, but you don't have to do that. That's just fine. It's just fine. Okay. Tony says, will you be everyone's coach or will people be assigned to other coaches? So right now for this winter and spring class, I'm going to be coaching bootcamp. If you were to sign up at another time, it may not be with me. But right now I'm coaching bootcamp. It's a great question. Okay. Let's see what other questions. Joe says, when we touch on blockchain technology and DApp, do they require a different skill and set of tools? So it depends. Can you tell me a little bit about what you want to do with your blockchain technology? That'll help me get you the right answer. Okay. Other questions. Hung says, time to get that money. This is such a generous deal. The advanced app guide is probably what I need. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I have a couple people who have already signed up. So Crystal has signed up. Crystal is super excited to work with you. And also Jason. Crystal and Jason are both signed up. So let me know in the chat, Crystal and Jason, why you decided to sign up. I would love to hear why you decided to join bootcamp. Okay, other questions that folks have. Other questions. Okay, Avery says a buy and sell trade app. Yes. Kimberly, a fashion app. Yes, you can build that. Jude, a fitness app. Yes. Chelsea, video streaming. Yes. Carrie says, like Yelp with additional specific review categorizations available for search. Yes, definitely. James says navigation from point A to point B. Yeah, absolutely. So you can definitely do that. Yep, I showed you kind of some of those examples where you can plot different locations on maps. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Andrew had a question about the payment plan. So the payment plan does end up being a little bit more. And the reason why is because you're able to start bootcamp immediately, and I'm essentially financing your tuition. So whenever you do payment plans, they're usually a little bit more. The pay in full is significantly cheaper because you get the 10% discount on top of that. So if you can pay in full, that's definitely what you want to do. And also, okay, I'm gonna make sure I want to say your name right. Dimitajo just signed up, paid in full, super excited. You have the 10% discount and also the 2-hour live session with me. Cool. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. Dimmy. Okay, awesome. Jose says, do you help with apps that require geolocation? Yeah, we were talking about this earlier where you need to be able to plot different locations on a map or show different directions in between, so yes. Oh, okay, Andrew says, what's the code for the goodies in the payment plan? It's on my screen. The code is FAST10. FAST10 is the code that you need. FAST10. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Tiffany, what about if you have vacation plan for the next 2 months where you might not have access to the internet, like a cruise? How will I make up the time I missed on those days? Oh, this is a great question. So what you'll do, so as soon as you sign up for bootcamp, the next page that you'll see will be a calendar. And you can choose what dates are going to work for you. So Tiffany, if you need to wait like a couple months to start, you can just go in there and find the calendar date to start that works best for you. That's totally fine and probably the best thing for you to do, right? Or you can kind of find some classes that maybe work for you where you're gonna have access during that time period while you're traveling, so you can start earlier. So that's totally up to you. But as soon as you sign up, you'll see a calendar so you can figure out what dates you want to start. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so Jose says, I'm bringing up blockchain because I'm thinking about a money exchange app to fill the void of countries that spend over $1 billion annually in sending money back home abroad. Yes. Also on a mobile scale because phones are easily accessible versus computers. Oh, great. Very cool idea, by the way. So yes, we can totally build that app. We will likely not build it using blockchain. However, there are a ton of other ways that you can facilitate that money exchange app across different countries, and I'll show you how to do that. So yes, that's totally possible. Alfred says, when is the deadline for payment? Great question. Okay, so if you want the fast action bonus, the 10% discount plus the 2-hour live session with me, the deadline is midnight Pacific time today. However, if you need more time, you don't want those fast action bonuses, then enrollment is going to close on Sunday. That's That's March. Hold on, I'm looking at my calendar. March 3rd at midnight Pacific time. So you have until Sunday to make your final decision. But if you want those fast action bonuses, the 10% discount plus the live session with me, you have until end of this evening to get enrolled. Okay. Other questions. Oh, Tony had a question about Appy Pie or Apple Pie. Is it Appy Pie? Is that what you mean? Is this a good site to build an app? Tiffany says, I don't want to wait. You don't have to, Tiffany. Take a look at the calendar. You can just put something that works for your schedule. And really the only thing you need to look out for, Tiffany, is just one weekend for you to start. One weekend that you'll have access to the internet. So if there's going to be a weekend that you're available, you could even start, before you leave. That would be great. Okay, let's see here. Tony was asking about Appy Pie. So Appy Pie is a tool that I teach, but it's like a secondary tool. It's not one of the primary tools that I recommend. It's pretty limited in its functionality. If you were building a very, very simple, let's say that you had a restaurant and you wanted to build an app where the app has like your address and your hours of operations and just very simple things that never change, then Appy Pie is good for that. But if you need a dynamic app with a database, it's not very good for that. So there's other alternatives that are better. Cool. One of the things I've been doing is spending a lot of time with folks who make a lot of money. Like I've been trying to kind of see how they think and all these things, right? And one of the things that I've really learned is how folks who make a lot of money and have money, how they think about disposable income. So like disposable income, as you know, is the money that you have left over after you pay your bills. So you make money, then you pay for your rent and all sorts of your bills, and you have some money left over. Maybe it's not a lot of money left over, right? Like when I started as an entrepreneur, it was very little that I had left over, right? But the thing about that disposable income is it replenishes. Like if you get paid every month, there's more disposable income. If you get paid every 2 weeks, there's more disposable income. And so what you want to do with your disposable income is you want to invest it into things that are going to give you an ROI, a return on your investment, right? Starbucks does not give you a return on your investment. Going out to dinner with your friends does not give you a return on your investment. Lots of Ubers that are expensive don't give you a return on your investment. Investing in yourself so you can get to the next level gives you a return on your investment. That's what you want to use your disposable income for, right? Okay, what other questions do you have? I see Ashley Dawson just signed up. Super excited to work with you, Ashley. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. And for everyone else, I want you to think of one question that you have for me, one question about your business, your app, or boot camp that you have for me. Okay, Bill says, I'm building an app where you use a phone as a remote control thermostat to locate something, turn the lights on, open garage, etc. So if, Bill, you would need to be connecting to something called an API. What an API is something that allows you to talk from two different softwares or from software to hardware, right? So you need to be able to connect to an API for that hardware, and we need to make sure that hardware makes the API available for you to connect to, right? Okay, so he says, will you allow to build apps that will be accepted by Apple's App Store? Yes, absolutely. So you can put it on Apple's App Store, Google, Android's Apple App Store, or you can have it available on the web. Other questions that folks have, other questions. Andrew says, what about an app for meal ideas after inputting ingredients you have left over in your fridge or cupboard? Absolutely, you can totally do that. It's like a recommendation app. Yeah, a recommendation engine. That's actually the type of app that I first built, a recommendation engine for artwork. So yes, you can totally recommend meals based on what people have in their fridge or things like that, right? Okay. And what other questions? Other questions that folks have, things you're concerned about, things you're not sure how it's gonna work, all that kind of stuff. What questions do you have? I had like this choice to make when I launched and created this program. And I had a choice of either making the program super cheap or super valuable, right? I had to choose between those two. And it was important to me to make the program super valuable for you. So those are the things I was thinking about and kind of creating for you, right? Okay, see, a couple other people just jumped in. Danielle just jumped in for boot camp, and also Millicent. So tell me in the chat why you guys decided to sign up. I'm super excited to work with you. Cool. Okay, other questions. Trent says, what about apps like Uber, where you connect customers with service providers? Is that more of an advanced lesson? No, I would consider that like a marketplace app, right? Uber is a marketplace, right? So there's a big marketplace of people to drive you, and you can get connected with someone and they do your ride. So no, that's totally in scope of what we're gonna work on. Totally in scope. Avery says, how do you protect people's info and facilitate transactions? Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so two different ways. It's a two-part answer. The way that we facilitate transactions is we're going to use a third-party payment processor. There are companies out there who all they do is focus on payment processing, right? So facilitating transactions. PayPal is one of them. Stripe is another one. Now, most of the time when you guys pay for anything on the internet, you're using Stripe. You just don't know it. You're using Stripe. You just don't know it. So we're going to use a company where they have all of their energy and all their time, and they're reputable for processing payments, and we're going to let them process the payments and integrate it into our app. Also, we're going to keep everybody's data safe by using a big company's data safe, like housing tools. So Amazon, for example, is really good at this. Amazon Web Services, has a database and data housing tool. So we're going to use Amazon's tool in order to house all your data and keep everything safe. Great questions, though. Okay. Jason says, I'm creating a technology program for high school students with certifications. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. You would totally do that. I work with a lot of folks who are in education, a lot of education folks. Chelsea says, how much does Thinkific software cost? So I believe they have a free tier. And then after that, it's definitely less than like $40 a month. I'm not sure the exact tool. Taryn says, do you have to pay these third-party entities? So the only one that you have to pay is the payment processor. You have to pay 3% for all of your transactions, and that is super normal. Everyone who processes transactions on the internet pays that 3% fee. It is the cost of doing business. Even when you go to a store like a drugstore or a liquor store, they have to get paid the 3% transaction fee too, right? So that's just how much it costs to do transactions, but it's not that much. Right. Okay. Awesome. Okay, Millicent says, 2019, I'm jumping the coop. No more acting like a chicken. I understand investing in myself now more than ever, and so we're ready to manifest our idea. That's why you decided to sign up for bootcamp. Yes. Also, the fact that I have lifelong access to the community. Yeah, knowledge is power. Totally. Like, the community is really cool. Yesterday, someone just posted in the community that they got news coverage by the Washington Post. The Washington Post did an article on their app. So right now everybody's like celebrating with that person, and it's so fun. And also there's someone else who was on Fox News. They had a video camera and crew come into their office and show all the cool stuff that they were working on with their app. So right now everybody's kind of celebrating cool press wins that everybody has had. Okay. Other questions. Okay, Fred says, what's the difference between the boot camp and the boot camp with coaching? So to be clear, the boot camp includes coaching. So there's no option between like doing the boot camp with or without coaching. The only difference is that when you pay in full, you're gonna get this 2-hour live session with me plus a 10% discount. But you're gonna have the boot camp with coaching regardless. Does that help? Okay. Other questions. Okay, Kenneth had a question. How costly are apps that require getting licenses, giving users access to curated media, so like streaming, etc.? So you'll be able to set that app up for free and then spend some. I'll give you the high end. I'll give you a conservative quote and say like that you'll spend $40 a month running the app. That's on the high end. Yeah. Yeah, James says, again, a navigation app, sort of like Google Maps. Yeah, totally. Cool. Okay, what other questions do folks have? What other questions do you have? I just want you to know that you get to choose what your life looks like in 2019. You do. You get to choose it. It's not going to like happen to you. You get to choose what it looks like. And so right now, you get to decide, do I want to step up and get coaching and help with something? Or do I want to just try to figure this out all on my own? It's been a long time. For context, it took me 2 years to learn all this stuff that I'm teaching. So the question is, do you want to take 2 years, or do you want to choose to take a path that gets you straight to what you need? Straight to what you need. It's up to you, right? Because you get to choose how much struggle you want to have. Okay. Jason, what do you mean by authentication? I want to make sure that I understand your question clearly. What you mean by authentication? I know you said getting licenses to give users access to media. What do you mean by authentication, though? Like you're going to give them some sort of code that gives them access to use the media or to view the media? Is that what you mean? Just explain more clearly so I can get you the right answer. Cool. And again, to sign up, you want to go to join.alpha.co.com. You've got about 5 hours to make your decision on this fast action bonus. So all you have to do is scroll down. You can do PayPal as well if that's easier for you. And then right here, you type in fast 10 in order to get your discount. And then you can hit submit. And the payment plan is right below. Okay. Jason, I'm going to give you a second to type in. I think you're probably typing right now. So to type in your answer. Cool. And I have a couple other people. Let's see who else. And I see there's somebody who's trying to get in. I just want to let you know that your bank may just like call you or email you and confirm that that's you. I think somebody who is having trouble right now. So check with your bank, see if they texted you or emailed you, confirm with them, and then try again if you're having any trouble. If that's you. I can't see who that is right now, but if you're having trouble getting in, that may be the issue. Okay. All right. So here's what I want you to do. If there are no more questions, here's what you're going to do. I want you to email me. I want you to email me. And I want you to do one or two things in the email. One, I want you to tell me what you thought about the workshop. I just want your feedback. Tell me what you thought about the class and the workshop. And also, if you have a remaining question or if a question pops up, please ask me in the chat. Please ask me in the chat if you have a remaining question. Cool. Okay, Jason is saying I'm thinking about biometrics for access and authentication into apps. So you will probably not be able to do biometrics to access the app, like, for example, be able to take someone's face image or something like that. That's currently not difficult to do without code. However, all the rest of the idea that you told me about, you can totally do. So that's the only thing. And that's okay for version 1 if you don't do all of those different things, all the fancy things. You want version 1 to be the thing that validates you. If you want investors, it gets you the investors to create version 2, or it starts bringing in money so that you can fund version 2. Cool. Oh, Tiffany says, I'm trying to find the website to sign up on my phone because I'm watching on my tablet and I can't find it. So Tiffany, it is join.appswithoutcode.com, join.appswithoutcode.com, and I can also email it to you afterwards. Oh, the easy, Kia had a great question. How do I email you? I didn't say that. Good point. Okay, so the easiest way to email me is just to reply to my last email. Just reply. That'll come straight to me. Just reply to my last email. Cool. Omali says, I want to create a virtual tour app. It will need constant updating for tour sites and upsales. Can I do this? Yes. Yes. Totally, you could do that. And Lydia says, what about a scanner app that reads barcodes? Does that require manual entry of barcode to create a database? No, we can do scanning of barcodes, or you can just have people search for the item or enter a new item. So you can do either of those. Other questions? I think I've answered most folks' questions. All right, so last call for questions. Type your question in if you still have a question. While I'm here, you might as well ask your question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I just want to get clarity for you. I know a couple more people are signing up. Let's see who else is in. Who is in? Let's see here. Elliot is signed up. Elliot, super excited to work with you. And also Shianti. Elliot and Shianti, super excited to work with both of you. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. Okay. Carrie says, can we send you a list of features to see if it can be cobbled together with the available platforms and APIs? Absolutely. Or you can tell me right now. Yeah. Kimberly says, I want to integrate inventory and pics using barcodes and pictures. Totally can do it. Here's the thing. It might be easier for me to do it this way. Let me tell you what you cannot do with code, without code. What you cannot do without code. Here's one thing we can't do. If you want to create an emoji app, like the, you know how you create a new keyboard inside of the app? That's one thing that's very difficult to do today without code. Or if you want to, that's the main thing. Actually, emoji apps are the thing that number one that I get people want to build that's still hard to do. Everything else we can do. Fitness apps, healthcare apps, finance apps, inventory apps, all sorts of stuff like that we can do. The thing we can't do is integrate into the keyboard. Oh, and the second thing that we can't do is turn the Wi-Fi of the phone on or off from the app. Like, for example, if you want to block people from accessing the internet during a certain time, that is still difficult to do because it has to access your settings and it's difficult to get those two to talk. Everything else you can create without code. Those are the two things. Kara says, how much should I charge a company who wants to do a white label? You want to usually, I don't know all the details, Kara, so we can talk about this more in bootcamp, but you want to start I wouldn't go anything under $3,000. I wouldn't do anything under $3,000. Is it possible to integrate an app idea into current social media apps? So Tavis, can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that? Integrate it into? I think I understand what you mean, but I just want to get clear. Cool. Yeah, tell me what you mean by that. Cool. Kara says, okay, great, thanks. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and it kind of depends, Kara, but here's how I would think about it. Think about what is the company already spending money on to solve their problems, right? Let's say that they hire someone and somebody has to do manual data entry to do this, right? And they pay that person $50,000. So that's how much they're willing to pay per year to get this problem solved. So I would not go much lower than that, right? Also, one thing that often happens is people are like, oh no, I found another company that's doing something similar. So that means I can't launch my app idea because I found a competitor. I want to speak to that for a second. For some reason in tech, we think that there can only be one of something. But there is no other industry that believes that. Like imagine somebody being like, I want to launch a hair salon, but I can't launch a hair salon because there's already a hair salon in Atlanta. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Or imagine Pepsi being like, I can't launch because Coca-Cola already exists. Like there's plenty of space for two. There's plenty of space for Uber and Lyft. There's plenty of space for competitors, right? And so do not freak out if you see something similar to what you're building. That is fine. In fact, it's good. It means that there's a market for what you want to build. So our next step to work together is to carve out what the niche is going to be that you're going to focus on inside of that space. So you don't have to go head to head with the competitor because the competitor is probably bigger than you and they'll crush you, right? So you have to be able to be more nimble and agile and to go after a specific niche that you can perfect, right? Okay, Tavis says, I have an app that gives scores and reviews of restaurants and I want to add it to Instagram that they can update daily. Okay, great. So you would not be able to automatically add it to, well, no, we can do that. I just thought of a way in my head to do that. I thought that you could, but you can't. Yes. So you can have it like automatically post it for them, or at least you can email them with like a post or what they need to post, and then they can post it themselves. So you can do either one. Yeah, totally. Great idea. Cool. That's an awesome idea. For small businesses, I'm thinking. Very cool, Tavis. Okay. Tiffany says, another app I've always thought of, I want to create an app for colleges geared for their students on finding their classes, like a GPS, but in schools, especially large campuses. Yeah, license that to them, right? Those are big contracts. They have big budgets. Great. Cool. Okay, other questions that are swirling around in your head that you're like, oh, I need to get this answered before I go, before I make my decision, before all of that. What questions do you have? What other questions do you have? And let me see here. I want to check in with, who is this? Okay, I may give you a call afterwards. I know there was somebody who was trying to get in that was having some trouble. Okay, other questions that you have? Anything else? Nothing? Last call for questions. Okay, all right, so here's what I want you to do. Please, please, please send me an email and tell me what you thought about this masterclass. I love to hear your feedback. Plus, if you have additional questions, we'll talk about it. Cool. Kenneth says, what about e-commerce stores inside of an app? Totally can do. Tavis says, what about apps that are designed for ads? Oh, great question. So in general, I do not recommend you build an app that is designed where the only way you make money is with ads. Here's why. In order to make money from ads, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, company, send me money. And the reason you should give me money is because I'm going to put your ad in front of my big, huge audience. That's why you should give me money, right? But the problem is when you're starting, you don't have a big, huge audience. That means that you have to go a long period of time to build up the big, huge audience, and you're broke for that entire time period. So for that reason, I don't recommend that you build your business model exclusively around ads. We are seeing companies right now that are struggling because they built their entire business model around ads. Twitter is one of the main ones. They made a bet that they were going to make money like Facebook did, and it is not working out very well for them. They're having a lot of trouble getting people to pay for ads. So I would not recommend going that route. There are a bunch of other ways you can make money. A bunch of other ways. Okay, Tiffany says, how long are your trainings a day? Oh, so I know how much time I need to carve out and at what time are they? Okay, good. So you'll be able to choose your schedule, of course. So you'll be able to choose your schedule. However, you'll have class for 2 hours a week. So one class a week, 2 hours. One class a week, 2 hours. And by the way, this program is set up for people who have existing 9-to-5 jobs. So you'll only have, the only options for classes are on evenings or on weekends. You get to choose, right? But it's set up for that. And in general, you should expect to spend about 7 hours a week on your business. Now, when you do, and that includes your class for 2 hours. Now, when you work, I do not care. So if you want to work, an hour every night, that's fine. If you want to binge it all on Sunday, that's fine. Doesn't matter, right? That's totally up to you. What makes apps run smooth and seamless and not choppy and slow? Server sizes? Yeah, usually server sizes or the way that you have constructed the app to run. There's some ways you can set it up to run slower or faster. The great news about the tools we use is they all run really fast. Yeah. They kind of handle all of those server size stuff for us. They handle all that. Great question, Amali. Okay, all right. We are going to wrap up. I'm super excited to see some of you guys already in boot camp. I know the rest of you guys are getting signed up, so it's super awesome. Tiffany says, I don't have a 9-to-5, so I have to get up and go. Can I pick up where I left off? Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to wrap up right now. But if you have a question, please email me. If not, I still want to hear your feedback, and you'll jump right in. Are the classes live sessions? Yes, Fred, they are. They're not like this, though. So like right now, you can see me, but I can't see you. So they're gonna be like 2-sided live video lessons, video classes, and so you can go and you can say, "Hey Tara, here's where I got stuck. Let me show you." And you can share your screen, your computer screen, so I can see what's on your screen, and then I can show you like, "Oh, you just forgot this one thing," and I can help you through it. So they're live, they're active, and we're working together on like a 2-way video chat as opposed to 1-way. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. I will see you guys really soon inside of boot camp. Send me an email. Tell me what you thought. Send me your questions, and I will talk to you all really soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Get your Fast 10 discount code. That code expires this evening. If you still want to get into boot camp after that, you have until Sunday deadline, but you're not going to get the 10% discount and also the 2-hour live session. Can I access to an iPhone? Yeah, iPhone, Android, or on the web. Your app can be on any of those platforms. Cool. All right. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.